Hi folks, welcome to a little after 5 p.m. Today is Saturday, 10/17/2015. It's about 50 degrees in here, somewhere around 10 degrees Celsius, 42% humidity. And as I said before, welcome to Saturday. And the sun is off my solar collector, so the Energizer's coasting in, so to speak. Today I got together with a friend of mine, Signalman James. He and I installed the air conditioner. The guy who really knows what he's doing, he was sick, had the chills, sick as a dog, the poor guy. Went to the doctor. Doctor told him he had some kind of infection, gave him a load of antibiotics, told him to go home, go to bed, and behave himself. So you can see the unit right here. Now, here's what we did. Started out inside. My wife's vacuuming up the mess, so I dare not go in there. Start out inside. There's a bracket that you screw to the wall, and you got to pay a little bit of attention to where do you want the air conditioner to land and where your studs, so that you don't have trouble. Drill a 3-inch hole. You guys could see these pipes feed out the hole, right? So low pressure, high pressure. This is the condensate, and this is the power and the control line. So these come right out of here. You can see these guys will have foam on them. It's all happy. See the gutter, and the gutter's cut to size. I haven't put it on yet because I'm going through the leak check phase. Now, what we did is all these joints we put together, you take the joints, and where the flare fitting is, there's some special it was known as HVAC flange seal, and I specifically bought the one for the 410A stuff. It says you could just put air conditioning oil on there, the right kind, and the 410A uses a synthetic version. Anyway, I just went with the right sealer because I really don't know what I'm doing, and I wanted all these things to come out as good as possible. So I put the sealer on both sides, finger tightened them, then wrench on one side, this side put the torque wrench, and these tighten to like 40 foot-pounds, and these are like 30 foot-pounds, something like that, 40 and 30. Piece of cake, right? That was easy. So now, you hook the wire up, you hook it up to the panel according to color coding, right? That slides on and kind of pressure fit. And it looked like it was going to stay, but I put tape on it because now I know it's going to stay. And once again, this will all be sealed up nice. We'll get that covered up nice, and then we'll put the gutter on top of it, so it's all happy. So, bracket to the wall. Once again, you got to think about where your studs and where do you want it and how do you want it centered and all that. You got to make sure that when you go to drill that hole that you didn't center the bracket such that you're going to hit a stud. And if you're going through an outside wall, everything's supposed to be 16 on center, but it doesn't hurt to go through a little extra time with the stud finder just to make sure somebody didn't put an uncharted stud somewhere that's going to screw you all up. Anyway, obviously it comes down. Notice the downhill. So we stayed with the downhill, and the S still going downhill, hooked it up here. Same thing, used that vacuum joint sealer, HVAC flange seal, hooked those all up, right, torqued them to spec, which made everything happy. Next step was I hooked up the bottle and pressurized the system to 350 psi, and that's up at 350. So we pressurized it to 350 with nitrogen. This is compressed nitrogen, really nice stuff. So after we pumped it up, let it sit there for about 45 minutes, nothing leaked out. And by the way, it was pumped up, this was closed. I actually took this off the tank, so I was sure that I wasn't, pushing pressure back in. Held pressure. Then what I did is I bled off the nitrogen, right? And then once I got it all out, I hooked a vacuum pump to it and pulled the vacuum through the whole system for about 45 minutes. Then I closed this down, right, and took this off. I had the vacuum pump hooked up, right, took this off, and when I went to backfill the vacuum, I used nitrogen to backfill the vacuum, and then pumped it back up to 350 psi. I'm doing a second leak check on it. It appears to be all good. What I'm going to do next is bleed it off, the nitrogen off, put another vacuum on it, and at that point it should be ready to let the Freon loose and flip over the little connector up there in the box and turn the power on downstairs, and I should have air conditioning and a heat pump. I should be able to set it to 70 or 65 or wherever I want it to be, and it should, sorry for the wind guys, it should be all happy and ready to go. Positive, negative, it's under a deck. The good thing is there's a roof on it. That should help it. It's on that pad. I have to screw it down to the pad. I mean, it's stable, it's not going anywhere. The specs for the side and the back, supposedly it could be within 5 inches of the back wall. It's about 14 inches away. Supposedly it could be within 5 inches of a wall on this side. It's a couple of feet. Obviously there's plenty of space in the front of it. It will blow in this direction toward me, so any snow would have a tendency to blow outward. So I think it's all good. I do plan on kind of cleaning up some of the mess around it a little bit more, but it should be good. It should I shouldn't have any trouble with it. The condensate line, I need to make sure that it stays on a nice downhill and has some place to go, such that it doesn't leave water around the air conditioner or up against the foundation. But yeah, everything went together well. We really, the instructions were easy to deal with. Everything was good. The air conditioner itself wasn't too bad. This is I guess they call it 12,000 BTUs is a ton, so this is 24,000. So this is a 2-ton unit. EER or SEER of 19, heat factor of 10. So it's all Energy Star and all happy like that. The unit here, the Slim Pickens there, Mr. Slim, and the inside unit were like $2,300, and then it was another $400 for this crap, for all the piping and all that stuff. And that was most of it. I had to run a 220 line over for my breaker box, which was like another $80 worth of wire. Then you got some connections and all that kind of stuff, nothing major. The sealant to put the threads together was like $15, $20, $19, something like that. So the pieces and parts to put it together weren't that bad. The tools to put it together were another story. And I probably have all of $500 out in tools. I mean, the vacuum pump is, a $100 Harbor Freight piece of crap. The nitrogen tank was like $90 delivered, I think, 80 something bucks delivered. The leak check system, $136. I guess if anybody really is interested, ask, and I'll put together an itemized list, right? I went with the Yellow Jacket gauge package because I'm told they're the best. I went with the Yellow Jacket torque wrenches because I'm told they're the best. They were a little more money. The guy who helped me said, boy, this is the fifth or sixth one of these I've put in. We've never used torque wrenches. We just use a pair of crescent wrenches. Oh, this is the first time we've used sealer on the joints. We never do that. This is the first time we've ever used nitrogen. We never do that. So, maybe I've gone too far. But I'd probably have another $500 worth of tools into it. So, what's that? 23 and 4 is 27, and 5 is 32. So I have 3,200 in it. Yeah, I think that's all of it. I gave, my buddy a few bucks because, I didn't have to. He said, nah, don't worry about it. But, guy's got wife, kids, young family. A couple of bucks now makes a difference. If he has that extra C note in his pocket, he could take the wife out to dinner or buy his kids a new pair of skates or something. Makes life a little easier. I mean, we have a good time when we're together, but I got kind of one of those hang-ups. If somebody works for me, I like to make sure that I pay them, or if we're trading favors, I like that kind of defined. Okay, I'm changing the oil in your car, and you are, quite honestly, to me, it's much easier to pay somebody, and for him carrying everything he carried and keeping me honest and helping me put the tools away and moving some other stuff around. I mean, kid's strong like an ox. It was worth. I had a lot of fun with him, and it was cool that I was able to afford to be able to give him a few bucks. I'm never going to be a rich man, never ever. But my belief is, if you're generous with what you have, my belief in God is that God is generous with you, right? If you want to be kind of cheap and tight and difficult with what you have, he sometimes returns that favor, right? With me, I've always been generous, and he's always been generous to me. So that's the way I live my life, and it works. For me, it works. Anyway, folks, enough philosophy. I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up, and guys, please get out there and enjoy all your days. Even if your day is having a buddy come over and you pretend to know what you're doing with an air conditioning system, and maybe you actually do it and it works. You'll hear over the next couple of days if it does or doesn't. Guys, remember, keep your feet down and head up. And once again, and as always, thanks for watching and commenting and subscribing. Thanks for all the advice and the support. I really do appreciate that. Bye now, folks.